This segment, we're discussing Lagos and the future of Lagos. And in the studio, we have the gubernatorial candidate of the NRM, the National Rescue Movement. He spent the last 30 years in insurance, academia, information technology, telecommunications, and agriculture. And he says that something has to change. And he says he has what it takes to take Lagos to the next level. We're talking about the candidate Akin Braithwaite, and we're here talking about all of this. Now, let's come to one of your constituencies, telecoms and digital, all of that. Now, you talked about, compared with Dubai, where there are cars that drive themselves. Now we're hearing they're testing the issue of flying cars, testing to see how the workings will be, and all of that. They're perfecting it from what we're getting and using the AI and so on. Now, all of this is facilitated by 5G, the 5G technology. Well, 5G is just coming now. In fact, one of the telecoms just launched, or government just gave licenses for 5G, and 5G has just been launched about a month or two ago. So we don't have that. It's still being perfected. So what will be the plan in that regard when it comes to digital, life of Lagos?
Okay, this may sound somewhat controversial, but I would be very careful about deploying high tech, simply because you see, high tech has also got another side to it. Okay. Which is the side of the implications for jobs. I could, roll out a particular type of high technology, and it could displace 100 people. So, to a large extent, we need to really sit down and really think it through. I mean, in America, they're dealing with this issue of driverless trucks. Okay. And they're already beginning to say something that's like upon them in, say, the next 5 years or whatever. What do we do about all those drivers? How do you retrain, and what's going to happen? So I think that whilst, yes, AI, robotics, and all these things are fantastic, we have to really begin to think about, the vocational aspect. How do we retrain people who are essentially going to be displaced? If you take agriculture, you can use an automated tractor, for example, combined harvester and whatever. It can do the job of 200 people. It can clear 10 hectares in an hour. What do you do to all those people who are, going to be displaced? So, to a large extent, government would have to sit down and really, work out which areas is this thing going to displace? What do we do with the people? How do we bring them into other areas? Some people, there is the other side of the argument, which says that, of course, when technology displaces one end, it creates other opportunities at the other end. So we have to look at, okay, what are those opportunities that it's going to create, and then how do we then make sure that we're looking after the people?
But technology itself is about disruption. It's about shaking these things for more money, more experience. Why are you getting cautious about technology when the world is about disrupting? Because I have experience reporting technology, especially wireless, when I was a journalist in the U.S. and I saw how they moved from 2G to 3G, and 3G to 4G, and so on. And these things are, I'm sure 5, 6Gs have already been blueprints are on, because when I was reporting in the early 2000s about these things, the 5Gs were already being designed and talked about, and so on and so on. So it's a world in which you disrupt things, you change things, and for somebody who wants to rescue, who wants to bring things on the scale, I thought you should be thinking along that line, because this Karl Popper, who said, the philosopher, who said, we cannot predict history because we cannot predict technology, but because technology comes and changes everything. We should all be happy to receive it. Why are you
concerned?
Yes,
or cautious.
Okay, because I have an ideology which is, I call it societalism. And it looks at society and the different clusters of society. And what I did say earlier is that let's look at the disruption. Let's look at the areas it's going to disrupt, and then how we can train people to now do some other things. So we have to embrace technology, but we must not embrace it without understanding the implications of it and the consequence. It's very exciting. I love technology as an individual. I love gizmos. And having worked, and I work currently, the stuff that I do is in cloud telephony and digital transformation. So, but the important thing is that there is a people element to everything that we do, and the policy. And that's part of the thing where I think that we really need to be people-centric, to a large extent. We run ahead of the people, and we need to bring people front and center, to say, okay, what do we do? There used to be the typewriter, all right? Then there were pools where you had people who were just typists. Nobody did their own stuff. You have a laptop right in front of you. You're doing your own thing. You're not writing it and then sending it down the pool. So those pool typists lost, the work that they were doing. But then there were other things that were found for them. In call centers today, that's a massive employer of labor, creating call centers. We hired like 3,000 people to work in call centers. The more the technology has come, the more it's allowed us to really, really hire people and create an industry of call centers, like India, for example. We need to create such a thing in Nigeria. You could move people into jobs like that and create outsourcing. We could become a major outsourcing destination.
Some people feel that we are not even moving fast enough. I mean, I remember reading this novel by this Nigerian Teju Cole, Open City. There was one time he made a point in the novel in which he said it is amazing how many big name companies that we used to know, they dissolve and life still goes on as if they never existed. And it shows how as human beings we tag along, and we don't even have to wait for Cisco to come down or for Microsoft to come down because something softer and better.
That's the fantastic thing about life. The evolution. Remember Betamax?
Yes.
And remember Polaroid?
WorldCom. WorldCom. Right, all those companies, they're no longer there. The world, we're all living by them.
Yes. So we have to continue to move, right? And we have to really make sure that we also get our people moving. In some countries, for example, children as young as 5 years old are now being taught how to code, because coding and the fourth industrial revolution is now upon us. So how we do education now has to also, be different, because we're competing with the world, right now. We're not competing with other African, We're not competing with other African countries, as it were. We're competing with the whole world. We're competing with China, And I think that if we unleash the talent of Nigerians, we can compete very, very favorably with it. And indeed, we must. So where this is taking us to is a situation where we cannot slow down anymore. And that's why I talk about we need rapid development. And rapid development has to happen at the local government level. We need to put local government, unleash local government. We cannot run a centralized economy. So imagine and reimagine we're raising GDP at local government level. That's what I would like to see. I think for me, that's a major, major priority. And it's a major thing that has to happen. That's a major agenda item. Because if you develop at local government level, you can ensure that there's even competition at local government level. You can ensure that the kind of people that are running local government are the kind of people who really have development, wired into them.
All right, let's talk about transportation in Lagos, because it seems to be one of the most visible part of Lagos. The moment you drop into Lagos, the first thing that hits you is the transportation, what it is or what it is not, whatever the thing is, especially if you're coming from developed societies and you're flying into the country, flying to Lagos and so on. What plan do you have for transportation in Lagos that will be different from what we have right now?
You know, I think transportation is one thing that gives a lot of Lagosians real high blood pressure. When I was coming this morning, going on the other direction, I mean, it was just gridlock. And I just imagine people are waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning to cross over. You know, that's why I say that, look, governance has to be about the people. You know, so we're saying, okay, how do we make life easier for the people? This is a major priority for me. And somewhere like Lagos, you know, if you're coming from the, say, the Idumota axis, and you're crossing the Third Mainland Bridge, on your right-hand side, you will see that there's some little tributaries of waterways. And at the end of the day, Lagos is an island. And the last time I checked, an island is a piece of land that is surrounded by water, right? So there are parts where you still need to dredge to be able to circumnavigate. We should be able to circumnavigate Lagos waterways. If you go to places like Turkey, for example, it's a very, very serious thing. You can move, you know, on water. And I remember, too, when I was growing up in Lagos, that there used to be some big ferries. You know, ferry system was something that, and suddenly, you know, that whole thing disappeared. We need to bring all that back. We need to ensure that water transportation, you know, that intermodal system really, really works. That would be a major priority. Now, there is an issue between the federal government and state, you know, in terms of permissions and approvals. So where we can't dredge yet, I mean, we would beg and go on our knees, you know, to the federal government. Where federal government is dragging, we would go ahead and dredge anyway, right? And then maybe we meet ourselves in court. But over and above that, what we would then do, too, is to have hovercrafts, right? You have these hovercrafts so you can have the larger ferries, get the ferry to a particular point where it can't get any further, bring in the hovercraft, do the transshipment or what have you, and then let the hovercraft, different sizes of hovercrafts, now do the final leg. And I think that when you have that kind of system going, you take a massive number of people off the road itself, of that road system, and it's a faster deployment. You can really, really deploy the water transportation very, very quickly. Of course, there's a slower aspect which you then need you need a couple of years to do that. I would do the rail thing much faster than what we have today, because you can't be spending 12 years. You know, this is where, again, I talk about priorities and I talk about the speed with which we do things. We would roll out, you should be able to build a rail system within 3 years, right? So that too would be done. I say that because there are other places where it's been done.
Well, the reason why Sam said earlier that it seems you're saying everything that is going on right now, because the point there is when you're talking about water transportation, rail transportation, and all of that, government is already doing that.
I'm not saying government isn't.
So the point there is
speed.
Yes.
Speed. You can't be building a train system, for example, for 12 years and say that is okay. There's what we call peer review, peer evaluation.
But when it comes to adding that speed...
No, let me land that point. We do peer evaluation, right? Peer evaluation is an evaluation where I evaluate you and I say, hey, look, you were meant to do this thing, right? Remember that we, the people, we are the masters of the government, okay? And part of opposition and part of politics is that to be able to critique and say, look, yes, I know you're doing it. I'm not saying you're not doing it. But one, you're not doing it fast enough. You're not doing it to my expectation. And you can't turn around and tell me, go and take a long jump because you're doing it. No, that's not what governance is about. That's not what democracy is about.
But even in that, because we expect Lagosians are watching right now.
Are you suggesting that as a citizen of Lagos, you are quite okay with us taking 12 years to build a rail system that's going to be for your benefit?
Well, the point is, Lagosians,
they're not building it make it look like it's just a rail station they're doing.
I'm saying the whole system.
They're doing this, they're doing that.
I'm talking about one specific
thing.
How
rich is Lagos?
I'm asking you the question.
Lagos as rich as you, is Lagos rich enough to get that?
Lagos is very rich. It's rich enough. Is Lagos not richer than Dubai? Is Dubai richer than Lagos?
Lagos is not as rich as it's not as rich as Dubai. But
It's not as rich as Dubai.
No, Lagos is not. They don't have. Dubai
Lagos
works
is not
works
as rich
on,
as Dubai.
Lagos works on the budget. Dubai works on the budget of a country. Lagos works on the budget of a subnational. You understand that?
Yeah, the subnational, that's a country. When I was managing the Southwest, right, the population of the Southwest, 6 states, was 22 million. One country, Zambia. We used to compare and say, hey, look, listen, we need to get serious. You know, we, the people, need certain things. We need certain standards. And that's what we have to demand for. So a government can't say, hey, look, this is good enough for you. Take that. No, that's not what democracy gives us. Democracy gives us the opportunity for people like me to sit down and say, hey, look, listen, I'm going to take this thing faster. I'm going to do it better because we, the people, need it. That's all. That's what. It's not a fight. You know, it's the expectation. You should be encouraging me. You should be saying, hey, look, listen.
What you're trying to tell the government is that do it faster. We don't have new ideas, but you have good ideas, but just do it faster.
We've got a lot of new ideas. Government is a continuum. We'll continue with what government is doing. From the time that this place was a capital of the things that are reasonable and good, we give you thumbs up. We say, hey, Sanwo-Olu, well done, my neighbor. You know, but I'm going to do much better than this.
All right, we don't have all the time right now.
I just have one question. We had one, Akin Braithwaite.
Oh, yes.
Who came one time and so on. Are you related to him?
Yes.
You're related to him. He came like you on the scene with the National Advanced Party. And he said, I'm going to give the youth considerable political fulfillment.
Yes.
And until he died, he was still trying to give the youth considerable fulfillment.
You see, you still remember him. I remember him. I have fond memories about him, don't you?
Yeah, but right? I like him for the exuberance. Not much more.
Hey, but you see, we are carrying on the battle. We're carrying on the legacy. You see, life is about, you don't stop. You know, that's the issue. Yeah. The Nigerian politics, we think that it is just about, oh, you just win an election. And because you don't win an election, you then go and crawl into a corner. Yeah. I want to bring in agenda politics, which is that, you see, people need to understand something. You don't vote because you think that big party is going to win. That's a causeless vote. That's a vote that doesn't have a cause. It doesn't have anything that is driving it.
All right.
But you vote for what you believe are certain values, issues, and interests.
All right, we have to leave it here now. But let me ask, you have a deputy. Who is the deputy?
Deputy is Azizat Dabiri Adeumi.
Oh, okay. It's okay. Because when we see posters and all of that, it seems we were not seeing the balance between...
You don't see the... yes.
All right.
We look for the other half of the candidate.
All right. We hope to have more of you for Lagosians to...
You mean you're going to have me back here?
No, of course.
Oh.
Of course. The point there is it's a time. So we create opportunity and platform for all candidates who are vying for, post ambition. So of course, why not? We'll have the campaign's just started, so it's still a long haul. Why
long
not?
road to freedom.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thank you, Akin Braithwaite, for coming on the program. We wish you well in your agenda for Lagos. And we certainly look forward to more opportunity to create that knowledge for Lagosians.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Right.